Imagine if every book, every scroll, every piece of written knowledge from an entire civilization vanished in a single day. This isn't fiction. It actually happened when Roman soldiers systematically looted and destroyed Carthage's sacred library in 46 BCE, erasing centuries of Phoenician wisdom forever. We're transported to North Africa in the 2nd century BCE, where the mighty city-state of Carthage stood as Rome's greatest rival. For over a century, these two Mediterranean powers had clashed in a series of brutal conflicts known as the Punic Wars. By 149 BCE, Rome had decided that Carthage must be completely destroyed. Carthage wasn't just any city, it was the crown jewel of the Phoenician world. Founded in 814 BCE by Queen Dido, it had grown into a sprawling metropolis of nearly 700,000 inhabitants. The city's harbor could accommodate 220 warships, while its markets bustled with traders from across the known world. But perhaps most remarkably, Carthage housed one of the ancient world's greatest libraries. This wasn't just a collection of books. The Carthaginian library represented over 500 years of accumulated knowledge. Phoenician merchants had traveled farther than any other ancient people, reaching Britain, the African coast, and possibly even America. Their scrolls contained detailed maps of trade routes, astronomical observations, mathematical treatises, and religious texts that existed nowhere else on Earth. The library's most precious collection included the agricultural writings of Mago the Carthaginian. His 28-volume work on farming techniques was so advanced that Roman senators later declared it the only Carthaginian text worth preserving. The library also housed navigation manuals that revealed how Phoenician sailors had mastered ocean travel centuries before other civilizations dared venture beyond coastal waters. When the Third Punic War erupted in 49 BCE, Rome's intentions were clear from the start. The Roman senator Cato the Elder had ended every speech for years with the phrase, "Carthage must be destroyed." This wasn't about territorial expansion, it was about total annihilation. The siege of Carthage lasted 3 grueling years. Roman forces, led by Scipio Aemilianus, surrounded the city with massive walls and naval blockades. Inside Carthage, desperate citizens melted down gold jewelry to make weapons. Women cut their hair to provide strings for catapults. The city's defenders fought with the fury of people who knew they faced extinction. By 146 BCE, Carthaginian resistance was crumbling. Roman soldiers breached the harbor walls and poured into the city. What followed was 6 days of systematic destruction that shocked even Roman observers. The historian Polybius, who witnessed the carnage, wrote that Scipio wept as he watched the great city burn. But before the flames consumed everything, Roman soldiers had a more calculated mission. They systematically looted Carthage's temples, palaces, and most importantly, its sacred library. These weren't random acts of vandalism. They were organized raids designed to strip Carthage of its cultural treasures. Roman legionaries, many of whom couldn't read, grabbed armfuls of precious scrolls without understanding their contents. Papyrus manuscripts that had survived for centuries were suddenly treated as mere loot. Some soldiers used ancient texts to wrap stolen gold and silver. Others burned scrolls for warmth during cold North African nights. The library's priests and scholars tried desperately to save their most precious works. They buried some scrolls in underground chambers, hoping future generations might recover them. Others attempted to smuggle manuscripts out of the city, but few succeeded. Most of these desperate rescue attempts ended with the scrolls' guardians being killed by Roman soldiers who suspected them of hiding treasure. General Scipio Aemilianus faced a dilemma with the captured library. Roman culture valued Greek learning, but viewed Carthaginian knowledge with suspicion. After consulting with Roman scholars, he made a fateful decision. The agricultural texts of Mago would be translated into Latin and preserved. Everything else would be distributed as gifts to Rome's African allies or simply destroyed. King Massinissa of Numidia, Rome's loyal ally, received several thousand scrolls as a reward for his support. Most of these texts eventually disappeared into private collections, never to be seen again. Other manuscripts were shipped to Roman libraries, where they gathered dust before being discarded or recycled into other materials. The loss was staggering. Centuries of Phoenician exploration records vanished overnight. Advanced metallurgy techniques that had made Carthaginian weapons superior were lost forever. Medical knowledge, including surgical procedures and pharmaceutical recipes, disappeared from human memory. Astronomical observations that could have advanced scientific understanding by centuries were reduced to ash. One Roman officer, Lucius Calpurnius, wrote to his brother describing the library's destruction, "We found rooms filled with scrolls reaching to the ceiling, written in strange letters that curved like serpents. The priests wept as we carried them away, as if we were stealing their children." The immediate consequences extended beyond lost knowledge. Carthage's destruction sent shockwaves throughout the Mediterranean world. Other cities realized that Rome's power was now absolute. The message was clear. Resistance meant complete annihilation, not just political defeat, but the long-term impact proved even more devastating. The Carthaginian library likely contained the only complete records of Phoenician exploration and colonization. Without these texts, historians still struggle to understand how Phoenician sailors achieved their remarkable maritime feats. We may never know whether they truly reached the Americas centuries before Columbus, or how they navigated the treacherous Atlantic currents. The loss also affected technological progress. Carthaginian metallurgists had developed steelmaking techniques that wouldn't be rediscovered in Europe for centuries. Their agricultural methods, glimpsed in Mago's surviving fragments, were far more advanced than contemporary Roman practices. The complete destruction of this knowledge may have delayed human progress by generations. Some scholars believe the Carthaginian scrolls contained mathematical and astronomical knowledge that could have accelerated the scientific revolution by 1,000 years. The Phoenicians were skilled astronomers who used celestial navigation for their long sea voyages. Their observations, accumulated over centuries, might have contained insights that European astronomers wouldn't rediscover until the Renaissance. Today, archaeologists continue searching for hidden chambers where Carthaginian priests might have concealed scrolls during the siege. Modern technology, including ground-penetrating radar, has revealed promising underground spaces beneath Carthage's ruins. Each excavation raises hopes that some fragment of this lost civilization might still survive. The stolen scrolls of Carthage remind us how fragile human knowledge truly is. In a single week, Rome erased the intellectual achievements of an entire civilization. This wasn't just military conquest, it was cultural genocide that impoverished all of humanity. When we consider what might have been preserved in those ancient scrolls, we're forced to confront a sobering question. How much wisdom have we lost forever to the flames of war?